So this story I'm about to talk about today is probably one of the most craziest stories I've ever heard in terms of in the medical field. Like, I've heard all sorts of horror stories when it comes to nurses, doctors, hospitals themselves, the way they're run, how overstaffed they are, how under budget they are, and all sorts of stuff. This story right here, where this nurse admitted to killing 10 patients because he apparently had too much work to do, that's something in itself. I've never heard anything like that before in my life. It doesn't surprise me, because like I said, I've heard all sorts of horror stories. But in saying that, this is probably one of those stories I probably would never expect it to really come across in my lifetime, but here we are. A nurse in Germany admitted to killing 10 patients to free up his workload. They'll get a little snowed under with work from time to time, but the thought of killing people to stop the admin, it's admittedly going too far. For those who work, especially in the medical field, people get overwhelmed quite often, no doubt, understandably so. But the thought of killing your patients to kill your workload, bad choice of words there, but you know what I mean, that's insane. That's ridiculous, and that's psychopathic behaviour, if that's even the right word. According to the reports, the nurse whose name was not released has officially been given a life sentence in prison on the 5th of November after he was convicted of murdering all 10 of his elderly patients by way of lethal injection. He was also found guilty of attempting to kill 27 more, as reported by CNN. At the trial, the prosecution team claimed the nurse attempted to cut down his workload by giving his mostly elderly patients a cocktail of painkillers and sedative. However, because of the crimes he committed, it's unlikely that he would be let go. And I hope that's true as well. I know nothing about German law, but I would hope this guy would never get to see the light of day again, because his patients never get to see the light of day again, so why the hell should he? And it wasn't like he made a mistake during his medical practice. No, he did this on purpose to free his workload. He killed 10 of his patients, mostly elderly patients, and he attempted to kill 27 more. So no way in hell should this guy see the light of day ever again. But we do know the justice system, no matter what country you live in, can be a shit show. Can really be a shit show at times. But what the nurse can do is appeal his verdict, despite now being known as one of Germany's most horrific killers in modern times. The palliative care nurse is said to have committed the crimes between December 2023 and in May 2024 in their hospital. Investigators have now pegged him as possibly being responsible for other suspicious cases during his career. Yeah, no doubt, this guy's going to have a lot of cases reopened in terms of his medical career, and what might have been suspicious at the time is now going to make a lot more sense. According to Agent France Pressy, the man had been employed at the hospital since 2020 after he completed his training as a nursing professional in 2007. Prosecutors told the court that the man displayed irritation and even lacked of empathy to patients who required more care, leading him to play a master of life and death. The court was told how he allegedly injected patients with large amounts of morphine and methamphetamine, I don't know how you pronounce it, so yeah, before being arrested in 2024. The court said the man's crimes carried a particular severity of guilt, which should prevent him from being granted an early release. The prosecutors then told AFP that exhumations will be issued to identify any more potential victims, which would mean he would be put back on trial again. Yeah, so this guy ain't getting away anytime soon. He ain't getting any sort of early release. He ain't getting any sort of appeal. This guy's going to be serving the rest of his life behind bars. Hopefully, anyway. If all goes well. This is partly why hospitals get such a bad reputation, or some sort of mixed reputation for the most part. You have cases like this where, you're putting your life in the hands of a professional doctor who you trust with all that you could trust with, and then situations like this end up happening. I'm not going to pretend to know what goes on in the hospital on a regular day basis, and how extremely overwhelmed they are, under budget they are, and how, they're up to their eyeballs in stress and all sorts of frustration, emotion, and all that kind of stuff. Especially during the pandemic, that was when you really heard the horror stories from local hospitals in the UK, for example. But with that being said, please let me know your feelings down below. What are your feelings on this situation? Do you agree that this unnamed nurse, should never see the light of day again? What kind of horror stories have you heard or can share in regards to your local hospitals? But until next time, take care, stay safe, have a good rest of your day. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye for now.